CEO means I do everything. I decide what split tests we run. I decide what marketing we do. I decide what offers we pick. I decide the products.
Everything.
Everything goes to you. Everything has all be all with you. You're overwhelmed and exhausted. You don't feel like your team can do anything. And you're at a place where your business cannot grow, cannot achieve because everything has to come directly to you. Hire a COO and an operations team to come in and run all this. That's where the magic happens. And we've told our own personal story in this where
All right, welcome back to another episode of Special Ops, where we give real actionable insights to entrepreneurs. Today, we're talking about why you should fire yourself as a CEO. Did I get that right? Fire yourself as a CEO? Hang on here, we'll get into it. So we know that you've built an incredible business, but the truth is you actually might be the one who's holding it back. And if you are, it's time to fire yourself as a CEO. So stay with us. We're going to break down exactly what the steps are that you need to take to remove yourself from the day-to-day operations and finally scale your business. Don't forget to visit us at specialopspodcast.com, where we have our Visionary Vault. It's a free resource center where you have access to all kinds of tools, resources, and guides that we provide. So if you're ready to take action today, sign up for our free resource center and get our step-by-step guide, entrepreneur's guide, on how to fire yourself and achieve freedom, and how to transition out of the CEO role and into the real CEO role that we're talking about today.
Right. And what does a real CEO do?
Somebody who sets vision for their company, doesn't run out of money, and increases shareholder value for the shareholders, which is yourself. So, Emma, let's jump in.
Sure.
Because I feel like this is one of those struggles that founders who are scaling encounter almost every single time.
It isn't even at scaling, right? It's even at maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So you start your business.
Right?
You wear a bazillion hats.
All of the hats.
And so your job is to set the vision, big relationships, all that other stuff. But your job is also the operations and the day-to-day sales to delivery process of your business. And then what ends up happening is CEO means I do everything. I decide what split tests we run. I decide what marketing we do.
The buck stops here.
I decide what offers we pick. I decide the products. I decide the formulas. And then what happens is, and this is the first problem, and we've talked about this before, the founder becomes the bottleneck to the business.
Right.
Everything goes to you. Everything has all be all with you. You're overwhelmed and exhausted. You don't feel like your team can do anything. And you're at a place where your business cannot grow, cannot achieve, because everything has to come directly to you. And we've told our own personal story in this where even though we were helping other people solve this problem in their businesses, in our business, I created that. And
the cobbler's kids have no shoes.
So true. And so the first step to correcting that, so I think what we should do is we go through the problem and then we go through this solution. So the first step to founder bottleneck, and I've said this before on this podcast, if you, the founder, can trust yourself enough to hire, you need to trust your people enough to take things on. And the way that you create that, you're not just going to be able to say, okay, guys, you do everything now. It's just not going to work. Your brain doesn't work that way. If you've gotten to this place, your brain doesn't work that way. So you just start building trust with your people. Here's a project, get this done by this date in this way. What resources do you need? Cool, make sure it's all set. Check in with them periodically and let them build trust with you that they're capable of doing the job, or let them show you that they're not and then you replace them, right?
Right.
The second thing is a lot of CEO entrepreneurs do not have a good operations team. They don't have a COO and they don't have an operations team. So that's the second problem. And so
they keep throwing bodies at it.
Because they don't have processes, they keep throwing more and more and more labor.
Yeah.
And what this creates is a cycle where people who still don't know how to do things, still don't know how to do them. You're just frustrated that it's still not getting done. So then you hire another person and then another person. All you had to do in the first place was create a process, or better yet, hire a COO and an operations team to come in and run all of this. You go make us more money to pay for these people, and they'll handle all the in between, right?
Get it done. Yeah.
And the way that you build an operations team or you hire a CEO, a lot of people have no idea where to start with that.
Right. It seems overwhelming, probably.
I've been told that 100 times, or they're like,
how do I find somebody?
My favorite is my buddy from high school is super cool and he gets the business. What does he do in the business? Well, he writes some emails and he does this and, he hires some employees, the employees that are creating the chaos because there are no processes that they should have been creating in the first place. So hire a real COO, a strong one. And one that's appropriate for your business size, but a strong one, someone who has experience as an operator and who has a proven record.
Not some random bartender at a local bar.
Womp, womp, womp. We've dealt with that, by the way. We've come in and the CEO met someone really awesome at a bar and she just was taken by her ability to problem solve, finding the forks. I don't know. And it was just so stupid. Anyway, so the next step to that is once you bring in your COO, get out of their way. Mm-hmm. Let them do what they need to do on the delivery of your products and your business. And then the catalyst to all of this is shifting yourself to a strategic leadership role.
Right.
And when I say a strategic leadership role, I just did an in-person weekend session with one of our clients. And we went through, he has several businesses and we went through each business. He also informed me that we were going to be starting some new businesses, as he does every time we meet. But this was our annual, and we were going through things, and he broke down the bird's eye view, high level of what was going to get done, what he wanted to deliver. So he painted the target. Mm-hmm. And while he sat there and painted the target, I sat there and painted the path. Here's the map. Yeah. Here's what we do to get here. And I asked him a lot of questions and he gave me a lot of feedback. I gave him a lot of pushback. Mm-hmm. I don't think that'll be profitable. Walk me through that. Some things we killed, some things we pivoted, some things we moved forward with. And at the end, we had this path to success for each business and
resources to accomplish it.
And resources. I also told him the resources we were going to need. Here's how much money we need. Here's how many bodies I need. Here's how much time I need. We agreed on all of that. And as I'm building it, we'll reconnect every single month on each project, on each business. And I'll let him know what I'm struggling to do. And he'll give me guidance on where to go. That's his job. And my job is to make sure that I plug all this in for him. And I hire the people and I deploy the resources in a way that gets him to his end goal effectively and efficiently. Mm-hmm. And so we each are living in our zone of genius. And because of that, we'll probably increase the overall intake of revenue this year. I think it'll be close to 60x, honestly. I really do. And I think it'll be close to 60x. And I'm usually pretty right. You've worked with me for 5 years, and I'm usually pretty accurate on this because it's all achievable, it's all attainable, and he has the resources to throw at it, and they're great ideas, and they're innovative, and they are working right into what we're seeing in our time.
And it's orchestrated with.
And the reason he was able to sit down for weeks prior to us meeting and getting this ready is because he is in a strategic leadership role. He's leading us to an end result, and I am plugging in necessary things to get there along the way. And he has the space and time to do that because he allows me to plug the things in and we check in with each other. And there is no micromanaging. There is no that needs to go through me. There is no I need to be CC'd on that. There is no I need to write every marketing email. I need to see every ad. I need to know about every dollar. There's a few KPIs that we review and we make sure that things are healthy. We make sure things are profitable. There are some SOPs that he gives feedback on, but he certainly doesn't paint that path.
Right.
And that is how you shift into a strategic leadership role by utilizing your COO to plug things in for you.
I think one of the tools that we'll put in to our resource center is a process for hiring the COO role. Because I think that's one of the things that is probably challenging for most entrepreneurs or most CEOs, most visionaries, is what to look for, and how to make sure that they're bringing somebody in who's actually capable.
Finding the right person, because they need to speak your language,
Mm-hmm.
and they need to buy. This is the other thing. They need to buy into your vision as much as you do.
Right.
If not more.
Right.
They need to believe in it, if not more than you do. They don't have the equity, right?
Right. The payoff from that. Yeah.
They have to believe in the impact or the mission or whatever it is. But yeah, we sure can do that.
Did you want to dive into any of these things, some of the stories? Because we've walked through different areas where we've had clients that have come in and they've been the bottleneck for the business.
Every client, that's why they pay us.
But right. But we've also had clients, so in each of these situations, right, where they haven't built a strong COO or ops team, they haven't brought in the people or developed them or cultivated them, they haven't been providing the direction or the vision for their company.
Well, they think they have, so they're going to argue with you there.
This is true. But being able to take all of those things and then be able to communicate that vision. And because it's not just about having the vision, but it's also being able to relay it in a way, communicate it in a way.
Years ago, I would have actually argued that it makes more sense to have the vision communicated from the COO to the team. I really strongly felt that. And
that's changed.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Because I bought into the vision because this person was passionate about it. Mm-hmm. They're usually storytellers on top of that, right?
Yeah, almost always.
Yeah. And so they will be able to relay it in a way that of excitement and give them there's just a beauty in it if you can get them to sit down long enough to do it. Mm-hmm. And then I do a follow-up meeting now. I don't ever do that meeting. I have the visionary entrepreneur do that. He relays what the vision is, where we're going to be in 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, what our 1 year is going to look like, what we're committed to, and then he gets their commitment to. And then once he does that, we have follow-up meetings departmentally on what it looks like for each department. And then once each departmental meeting is done, we come together as a team and we talk about what the communications look like from department to department and when check-ins and milestones need to be had. Mm-hmm. And so that's where the magic happens, right? Like that's where the magic happens. And then visionary and integrator or CEO, COO get to sit every week on these calls or every other week, depending on your business, and just start to see this painting come to life, basically.
Right. Which is more energizing for everybody as you work towards achieving those goals anyway.
We have a team, same team that I was talking about. They went through a pretty horrific change. There was a massive change in leadership and a pretty big lawsuit and a really tough, I would say 2 years. The lawsuit was very short. It was just at the end, but it was a really tough 2 years. And so
because everything leading up to it.
Everybody that was there was extremely and the only people that were left were extremely loyal, extremely bought into the vision, but everybody was so beaten up. Yeah. And no one felt like the company was going to ever do anything. Mm-hmm. It wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to be great.
Because it hadn't made any success or traction.
Well, it had tons of success. And then there was a 2-year period of one looming person. I mean, one bad apple spoils the bunch. Right. And that is very, very true. And it was a situation where it was a dark cloud all the time. And no one was allowed to have a win. Because mostly nothing could win because there would be a complete shift of priority. Right. The second that you started to gain traction on anything. And if it did get to fruition, it was never presented as your task, your win.
Or achievement, yeah.
It was presented as that leader's. And so fast forward, we worked with the business, but not in that business. Right. And so fast forward, that person left and we had to take over. And in 3 weeks, It was like magic. It was unbelievable. It was a lot of sorting things out and understanding where things were and just getting everybody aligned. And even like the calls from week 1 to week 3, it went from everybody showing up on the call and just everybody being like, and now we get on these calls and we're like, what's up, everybody? How are you? I miss you. How are you doing? How was your week? It was so great. And it's like, okay, let's briefly and quickly go over what we got done. It's boom, 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 boom. It used to be, well, I wasn't able to do this, but it wasn't my fault because it was so bad. And it's just so great. And then it's, what are we working on this week? Boom, 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 boom. What do you want to be doing that you're not? I always ask that question. What do you want to be doing that you want? Because they can always make you money, man. Your people are they know what you're missing. Right. And if you give them an open door to tell you, they will. Sometimes people say nothing. Sometimes people tell you golfing or boating, but mostly you'll get 1 or 2 nuggets out of every meeting. And so that just changed the dynamic. It just changed the dynamic massively.
Yeah. It just can I tangent for a second? Because you're telling that, it reminds me of the Tabasco story. I love that story, right? So,
it's because you're fake Mexican.
But if you guys don't know the Tabasco story, I think their sales were stagnant, right? And they were trying to figure out how do they increase their sales. And one of their, I don't know who the guy was, is somebody like on the line or something, simply had this basic idea. It seemed so simple, like, hey, what if we just make the hole a little bit bigger? Because then people will use more Tabasco and then people will buy it more. And I don't remember the stats on how much it increased their sales, but it was an incredible increase in sales, right? And that's coming from just somebody who's doing like day-to-day jobs. It's a simple idea, but then it was so easy to execute and implement. And those are the types of things where it's like, oh yeah, we could totally do that. Game changing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they have ideas because they're working in the day-to-day of it. But this is what a CEO taking his job seriously into a strategic role.
Right.
And bringing in a COO allowed, because it was an opportunity for them to go be in their zone of genius. Yeah. And for someone who knew what they were doing to come in, and it isn't even that I know what I'm doing. I just know how to be told what the goals are, and I know how to get us there.
Right.
Like I can't do any of this stuff, right? Like that's all him. But I know how to go pull all the pieces in
and make that happen.
And make it happen. Yeah. And so and he knew how to set the vision, but going and finding all the pieces. So he threw, instead of labor and a Band-Aid, because it was a quick insert, he took time to build an operations team and bring in a COO. Game changing.
Right. We're wrapping up here. And so what I'd encourage you guys to do, if you got any value out of this.
Thank God, right?
So if you got any value out of this, I'd encourage you guys to go ahead and go to specialopspodcast.com. Click like and subscribe on this video, but make sure you access our Visionary Vault, where you have access to tons of resources and tools that we have for you guys, including how to fire yourself as a CEO. We look forward to catching you guys next time. Thank you so much for joining us. Goodbye.